Good morning. Trying something a little different. I'm reading from something different as well. I will get back to hope and resiliency. Utilization is the next strategy of Dr. Milton Erickson. Today, at this point, I'm going to read from the Taoist Classics, Volume 3 by Thomas Cleary. This is in a book called Vitality, Energy, and Spirit, in a section called Ancestor Lu. And Ancestor Lu, L-U, transliterated, I don't know how it's spelled in Chinese. This is about mastering the mind. And there's a lot of very rich, clarifying material in the Taoist stuff. I highly recommend Taoist readings. This first little paragraph is called Removing Falsehood and Pollution. How are falsehood and pollution removed? This is talking about from me and from you, from our human minds. Removing falsehood and pollution from our human minds. Because there's plenty that we haven't attended to that are still there, that needs to be, I call it being cleared, clarified. They're calling it removing. How are falsehood and pollution removed? On the lower terrestrial plane, falsehood and pollution are mixed together. Therefore, I will give directions. It is necessary to be buoyant, to rise on high, making a profound effort to avoid entanglement in worldly objects, worldly affairs, worldly experiences. Avoid entanglement. Sit in deep tranquility with eyes downcast. Do not see, do not hear, and the mind will be clear and calm, without any garbage in it. After that, you can get rid of falsehood and clean away acquired pollution. Once acquired pollution is cleared away, the mind is pure and no externals can adhere to it. Mastering mind. In order to master the mind, it is necessary to banish 5 kinds of consciousness, thereby get rid of 5 obstacles, and thus understand 5 natures and penetrate 5 mysteries. We'll just read the 5 kinds of consciousness to banish. Causeless consciousness. Causeless. When people sit quietly in total stillness with no images appearing to them, their ears not receiving anything, their eyes not making contact with anything, in a state of profound silence, undifferentiated with steadily concentrated awareness, it may happen that suddenly a thought arises, drawing forth an outburst like wild animals galloping in all directions, out of control. This is very harmful to the way. So students of the way first get rid of this kind of consciousness. The way, capital W-A-Y, is Dao, D-A-O. It's the way of life. For those who prefer a Christian understanding, the Bible in John 14:6, Jesus said, I am the Tao. That's the way the Chinese version of the New Testament translates it. I am the D-A-O or T-A-O. It could go either way, depending on which part of China you're talking about. This outburst in all directions is out of control and is harmful to the way. So students of the way first get rid of this kind of consciousness. Where does this consciousness come from? And how does one get rid of it? The way to get rid of it is to eliminate falsehood and maintain truthfulness. I remember Ram Dass quoted his teacher as saying often, love everyone and tell the truth. They're saying get rid of causeless consciousness, sitting quietly and in stillness, by eliminating falsehood and maintaining truthfulness. Second type of consciousness to banish, consciousness of the future. Before situations can have been experienced, before matters arise, you should make your mind clear and calm. Before situations have been experienced, and before matters arise, you should make your mind clear and calm. Clarity and calm are roots of the way, but it can happen that you may, for no reason, get caught up in all sorts of before-the-fact considerations, assailed by 100 thoughts. Then, when you go through situations, dealing with people and events, they turn out differently than you thought. And so you try to make your thoughts fit them. This depletes the vitality, wearies the spirit, and exhausts the energy. It is better not to be conscious of the future, letting it be as it may. Therefore, students who do not get rid of this consciousness can hardly learn the way. The way to get rid of this consciousness is to forget objects, dismiss concerns, and clear the mind so that it is like space. Now, I can hear at least Western American, North American minds saying, rebutting in their minds, their human minds, which is full of pollution. It's not to be trusted. Hearing a rebuttal like to the ideas of forgetting objects, dismissing concerns, and clearing the mind so that it's like space, as denying reality. Well, if that's what your human mind thinks, and your human mind has no idea what reality is, we've been duping ourselves for myriad decades that reality is what we see. Reality is not at all what we see. That's a fallacy. Reality is an energetic basis of the essence of all things. That's what reality is. Reality is pure and clear. It is space. This is not only ancient guru understood reality, this is now scientifically proven myriad times, repeatedly. Quantum understandings are that everything is energy. The Taoists have known that for thousands of years. It's spirit, energy. Pneuma would be the Greek word in the Bible for it. Air, breath, wind, spirit. The way to get rid of this consciousness of the future is to forget objects, dismiss concerns, at least try dismissing concerns for a minute, or 4 minutes, or as long as possible. Take a break from concerns. Listen to a fan, the noise, the air noise of a blowing fan that's consistent and steady and continual. Clear the mind so that it's like space. Allow your awareness to sort of elevate up into space and just hang out there for a few minutes. Feel the relief. Feel the clarification that is there. And let it soak in for a few seconds. Third type of consciousness of sound and form. Consciousness of sound and form. The third type to banish. When the ear hears and what the ear hears and what the eye sees may be beautiful or ugly, fair or foul, may have any of a countless variety of features. You view them subjectively like dreams, yet you do not understand this and become actually attached to them. First, conscious of what is pleasing and displeasing, you devise strategies, uneasy and anxious, agitated and restless, So the luminous essence of mind is covered by shadows, and you become feeble-minded, unable to attain clarity. How can you study the Great Way in this condition? You will, on the contrary, destroy yourself. Therefore, students of the Way silence the superficial intellect and cause the inner mind to be ever alert, realizing that if this consciousness remains, it produces affliction, with no prospect of getting out of the confusion caused by affliction, anxious and insecure. When the autonomous mind emerges, it will get rid of this. Clearly aware, free from entanglement or dependence, thoroughly equanimous, outwardly and inwardly, using ears for eyes and eyes for ears, no matter how extreme the situation may be, you do not see or hear. That's consciousness of sound and form, the third type to banish. The fourth type of consciousness to banish, the consciousness of the past. Whether there is good or bad fortune, if feelings are forgotten along with situations, what gain or loss is there? What weakness or strength? The ignorant are bound up in many concerns, upset and uneasy, confused and worried, going mad by losing their minds for no reason. To try to comprehend the Way in this condition is like trying to cross the ocean in a bathtub, leaving you helplessly adrift. It is like trying to descend into an abyss of 1,000 fathoms by means of a well rope, which is not only impossible, but dangerous. Therefore, students of the Way must clear away this consciousness, and not be fixated by it, so that nothing retards them, and they are in a state of wholeness, everything evaporating, leaving no more false awareness, mixing up true awareness. Fifth type of consciousness to banish, the consciousness of personal knowledge. Considering oneself to be intelligent and enlightened is not going by the right way. Unaware that presumption of personal knowledge greatly obstructs the Way, you go back and forth in a fog, stagnant without expanding. This not only obstructs the Way, it actually destroys essential life. Therefore, students of the Way work to eliminate this consciousness, because if they do not eliminate this consciousness, they will never clarify true consciousness, even if they eliminate other consciousnesses. Consciousness of personal knowledge. So we know nothing. I know nothing. My human mind knows nothing. And it's full of pollution. And it's being clarified day by day. That's what the Taoists teach, that the celestial mind tutors and clarifies and teaches the human mind. So you all have two minds. We all do. In the Bible, it's referred to as the mind of Christ, but they don't make it clear, except that it says in another place, I think it's both of these are in Ephesians if you want to look it up, being renewed by the spirit of your mind. So we use the mind of Christ. It doesn't say that, but that's the experience I have for 40 some odd years. Still learning to clarify my human mind by letting my human mind soak in the presence of the celestial mind, the universal mind, allowing that bigger, clearer mind to overtake my human mind, to defer, to forfeit my human thoughts, because they're just repeated crap. It's just repetition from society that it's not helpful. But to the degree that we access the big mind is the degree to which those thoughts newly in our minds, implanted in our minds, human minds, are helpful and can be helpful. But we continue to depend on the bigger mind. That's the mind that in the state of flow that musicians and meditators and um, uh, extreme sports participants, etc., people, runners high, when any of us, any human can reach flow state, the frontal lobe shuts down, and then the energy that is being received by the brain at that time, it is a receiver. At least at that point, it's receiving energy, data, understanding, clarification from something much bigger than what's in our skull. Look at Joe Dispenza. He measures this repeatedly, I think every week of the year. He moves from country to country doing workshops and hooking EEGs and EKGs to people who are interested in participating that way. So Stephen Kotler, the director of the Flow Genome Project, speaks about flow a lot. And he has studied under, I don't know if directly, but Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the Czechoslovakian psychologist who wrote the book on flow. So this is getting rid of consciousnesses that are in the way of development and refinement, which would allow us to be more of what and who we actually are. So I hope that's helpful. I will end that there. Thank you for listening.